Welcome back to the Show Me Show podcast for episode 20. Episode 20. Today we have a special guest, Jacob Michael Baldwin, MLBaseball Extraordinaire. He'll come on into the show later as we get going, but first we'll start off with
first ever guest.
Yeah, first ever guest. We'll start with a little NFL. Heinz Field is no more. We also have a little NBA catch-up. Some sad Blues news. We'll talk everything All-Star Weekend with Jake Baldwin. We have our regular segments, Tough Scene of the Week, Say Hello and Say Goodbye, and hopefully our 2 NFL wheel spins as well to round out the back end of the show. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into it.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the show. So some interestingly big news, because this has to be big news because the NFL season is nothing right now. Right now. But during the week last week, Heinz Field, Steelers home for ever since it was Three Rivers Stadium, pretty much, is no more. The Steelers renamed the stadium to a Chrysler Stadium.
Fake. Doesn't even. I've never even heard of that place.
Yeah, it's a company, a tech company. Fans have already put out a petition to keep the name, but it is too late. Today they removed the giant ketchup bottle from the stadium. A true tragedy.
Iconic.
Yeah. It was just really one of those historic, well-known stadiums, kind of like the Staples Center, which has now also been changed to like Crypto.com Arena or something like that. Another notable stadium is just like Coors Field. You just know that's the Rocky Stadium, and that's what Heinz Field was for the Steelers in the city of Pittsburgh.
You say Lambeau,
yeah,
Soldier Field, or what Candlestick Park used to be. Really, it's no longer there, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Where's some other big ones like Yankee Stadium, MSG, the Garden, which could be used for Boston too, I guess. But
yeah, and some of those, some of the
Place.
ones you just rattled off, those ones kind of have their own like name established to it. Like Yankee Stadium, like it's named after the team. Yeah. Heinz Field was a sponsorship. Same with like Coors Field and stuff like that. So it's a little different.
What about the Superdome? Like I said, that sponsorship has changed.
So the Superdome is like Mile High Stadium. That's the name of the stadium, but they usually throw a sponsorship in front of it. Like, so the Superdome is the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, or I think now it's actually may have been like the Little Caesar Superdome or something like that. So, but yeah, it was, as a Pittsburgh fan myself, and that's just what I've called it my whole life, was Heinz Field. It's weird to say the least, that because a Chrysler doesn't flow, it doesn't really fit. Nobody really even knows who that company is, but they bought it up. So yeah, but
that's like time to get used to. That's a terrible way to introduce your company to the world. Buying out a sponsorship that everyone knows and loves.
Yeah.
How you get people to hate you to start off. But
yeah, and like I said, fans started a petition, but like I said, it's far too late now. They've already removed the giant ketchup bottle this morning, and they're taking down the giant Heinz Field lettering on the stadium soon as well. It actually might already be down. So yeah. But besides that, some quick notable retirements that have happened just within the week. Mitchell Schwartz, former offensive tackle for Patrick Mahomes and Alex Smith.
Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, Super Bowl champion. He has retired. He was on that team that beat the 49ers. Richie the Bully Incognito has retired once again.
No way. Finally.
He retires for good, he says. He played with the Dolphins, the Raiders, and the Bills, most recently the Raiders. And honestly, when he came back, he actually had a solid career once he came back from the racist remarks and bullying incident. Yeah, UNC legend Ryan Switzer retired today. He's a former returner and wide receiver for the Steelers, Browns, and Cowboys. He hasn't played in a while, though. He dealt with a lot of injuries in his career as well. And this is probably maybe the biggest one. Jason McCourty, the longtime Patriots free safety and Super Bowl champion. He won multiple Super Bowls with Bill Belichick. Honestly, one of the best and most durable safeties of our generation. I think he's literally been there his whole career. And
long career, too.
Yeah, a long career.
And you sure it wasn't Devin McCourty that you're talking about? I think Jason McCourty already retired.
Right. Jason McCourty was the cornerback, but Devin McCourty retired. So, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, that guy you were talking about earlier, he's now in the middle. Xavier Scruggs was his name. So, former Cardinal.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, those are some notable retirements. Sorry for botching Devin's there at the end, but yeah. So
he probably gets it a lot.
More funny, lighthearted news from last week. Well, did you say that you wanted to do this and end your kiss it goodbye or say hello?
I have it as a say hello, but I also have another one. So
okay, then we'll just go right now since it's NFL. But
go ahead.
Zach Wilson has that dog in him.
Allegedly.
Reportedly was sleeping with his mom's best friend after, I guess, his girlfriend broke up with him and starting dating his best friend from college and former wide receiver at BYU. I think he actually even played in the NFL, but
he's listed on the Commanders practice squad.
Yeah, okay. I was like, I know he's not like on an active roster right now, but he has a weird name that's hard to say.
He had a normal first name. It was just his last name.
Yeah. So interesting. It's not like it's a scandal or anything. It's just
it was a claim. Okay, it was a claim that was not made by any person of reputable source. It was his ex-girlfriend on a reply to an Instagram comment. So that's where it all came from, and it is funny. I'm running with it because the jokes are amazing, and it's Zach Wilson. So
yeah, and one of the maybe more important parts about all of this is while we say it's not really a reputable source, but it also hasn't really been turned down or denied by anybody within Zach Wilson's camp, really. Not even his mom. So it gives it a little bit more.
The only thing that Zach Wilson said about it is he posted a picture on Instagram. He's like, took the boys to Idaho for the weekend. What happened? ? Even though he obviously knew. So didn't deny it there.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't really come out and say it,
Yeah.
But didn't deny it. And then his mom posted a video with one of her friends a few days ago on her Instagram story and was like, I know what you all are thinking. It's not her.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Well, that rules out one of the Cougars.
No, I think we figured out who the one is.
But yeah, he handled it really well, like Luke just said. He put a very funny post up, and I was able to just see a bunch of other Jets players and honestly players around the league
NFL,
found it hilarious. But
his
teammates thought it was awesome as well. Just a funny thing. So honestly, I think, all publicity is good publicity or whatever. So
this is definitely good publicity, even though some people think it's bad, but
but because it's funny and
legendary. Honestly,
it really is. So I think this will actually help him and help his locker room presence going forward as well. So yeah, Zach Wilson, I think this is a step in the right direction for him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, anytime you get this much fan support, I mean, there were so many people MMG was like, I'm gonna go buy a Zach Wilson jersey now. Chad Johnson tweeted something out about
he's his boy now. Yep. Zach Wilson is.
Yep. All the Jets receivers were tweeting about it. DK Metcalf had some.
Michael Carter was loving it. And it was bound to happen, You go from BYU to New York City, it was bound to happen at one point or another. So yeah, I guess Mormons do have a lot of wives, but I guess that lifestyle is a little bit over. Once you,
I think that was
city.
that was more of a. I mean, they traditionally, they have a lot of wives, but I think the U.S. government outlawed that, if I remember.
Yeah,
so.
but on the low,
the law does not apply to Zach Wilson, so he does what he wants.
It's out. Well, I guess they could be married secretly, but as far as we know, they're just two consenting adults. But yeah,
as far as we know, nothing actually happened. But it's fun to think and joke about it. So
yeah,
sure.
So yeah, we'll see how that helps propel Zach Wilson's second season here in the NFL. I think he'll be a fine NFL quarterback, but we'll see. Some other news tidbits: the Texans settled their claims with the Deshaun Watson victims in those cases. Marion Barber, who passed away a few weeks ago, according to his autopsy, apparently died of a heat stroke, which was interesting for a former NFL player, but still sad to say the least. Former first-round pick N'Keal Harry of the New England Patriots was traded to the Chicago Bears for a 7th-round pick. So I guess N'Keal Harry isn't very good, but
bad value there.
Probably back.
When you trade a 1st-round pick for a 7th-round pick, it usually means the 1st-round pick sucks.
Yep, but if you I'll probably pull up the graphic here, but if you look at the Bears wide receiver room, it's mid all across the board.
Yeah.
It is super mid all across the board, but they have it's a lot of guys that
maybe they
could.
Yeah, but it's been like that for years, so it's not going to happen.
Yeah, so we'll have to see about that. They still do have Mooney, but yeah.
No, it's just simply not going to happen. You cannot play for the Bears and be good at the position of wide receiver. It's illegal, or quarterback for that matter, really. But
apparently he's having an awesome first complete offseason with the team, which I'm really happy for him. I actually liked him at Ohio State, so I understand as a Packer fan, you hope that he does not succeed.
I actually don't care if he succeeds or not, because the Bears are just the Bears. But
yeah, they are going to bear. It's kind of like the Browns. Although the Browns have had more success of late. But another thing, Gronk actually looks to be done for real this time. So I guess he probably won't be coming back to play with Tom if Tom comes calling. And one last thing, the Hall of Fame game is August 4th, so we don't have that much longer. Now the preseason isn't the best football to watch, but it does kind of get you ready.
Is that 2 weeks from next Thursday?
4th. So today's the 18th, and there's 31 days in July, so about almost 3 weeks, a little like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, 2.5 weeks. I think it's from this Thursday, it'll be 2 weeks. So, yeah, about 2.5 weeks from this moment.
So, awesome. Can't wait for that. So, yeah, that's going to wrap up our NFL news here. Jump into a little NBA stuff. Last night, the Blazers won the Summer League title, so Portland finally gets a ring. Now they're giving out rings and a giant trophy for that now.
So are all the teams in the Summer League, all 30 of them?
Yeah, all of them are there.
And the playoff is like 16 teams, I think. It's normal.
It's not much. They just do it really fast, and it happens super quick. But
yeah, I mean, the draft was like 2 weeks ago. Now the Summer League's like over, so.
Yeah. Paolo and Chet both looked solid throughout. They pulled the Magic pulled Paolo after just 2 games because they said that they had seen enough, and I agree with them. He looked fine. He looked like he'll be fine. Same with Chet. There was a lot of other guys. I'm blanking on the Celtics guy's name, but he kept dropping like 20 points.
Taco Fall?
No, he's a guard.
Taco Fall plays for Utah now, doesn't he?
I don't think he plays for the Celtics.
No, I think it's Utah.
And there was a couple other guys that looked good, but it's one thing about the Summer League is it's always a weird because it's like a half extension of the NBA season and a half extension of the college basketball season combined into one, and it is weird to watch because you'll have this is just an example of Justin Jackson, former North Carolina player, he plays for the Celtics right now on their Summer League team, but he's a 5-year veteran and he's playing against rookies and stuff like that. So it's like a weird combo. It's not all strictly just young guys. It's guys looking to make rosters too.
Mm-hmm.
Which back in the day, I was like, oh, I thought it was just like rookies and second-year players, but no, there's pretty much no age limit. You can just go in. So, yeah. One thing I do like about one thing about the summer league that I do like is I saw this in one of the games. The sudden death overtime rule for the second overtime is epic. It's just whoever scores first is the winner. And a guy drained a three, Thor the other night, drained a three for the Hornets to win it in second overtime. I like this sudden death thing. That's pretty cool.
I think it's kind of stupid because you just 1 point that's over.
Yeah, I know, but it's the summer league first off.
I know,
and they give you a regular overtime, so it's the second one that they do that. Maybe the biggest news the past couple of days out of the NBA is that the Suns actually decided to match the Pacers' 4-year, $133 million max offer for DeAndre Ayton.
Create the Arizona super team in Indiana. I'm all for it.
So I guess he will remain a Sun.
No.
So what has to happen for him to leave now? Because they offered him the max. And he doesn't have the ability to just walk.
Yeah, he does. Doesn't he?
I don't think he does. Otherwise, he would.
Well, I thought
that's why they have the ability to match.
Yeah, I know, but is he a restricted free agent or unrestricted?
Restricted.
I don't know how I saw something how it was like, he can, now that the Suns have matched, he has to wait until a certain August to opt out.
Okay.
So
I mean, he can receive other offers, I think.
Yeah.
But if the Suns match it, I think he has to go back for no matter who offers him. So I guess he will remain a Sun for now.
For now, he will remain a Sun.
And then another thing, yesterday LeBron showed up to the Drew League, which is always a NBA summertime tradition for some of the stars to just get in some quick work. He covered up the Adidas logo on his jersey, dropped 42 points in the game, won, and then left. And that was pretty much it. So he pretty much just walked on the court, dropped 42, and that was it. And so I'm excited to hopefully see LeBron healthy next year. We'll see how that goes. So,
okay. I found out. So this is interesting. So if he would have signed with the Pacers, taken that offer, the Suns would have signed and traded him. That's what it would have been, a sign and trade. Probably the Suns would have got, a worse deal on that. But since they matched the offer, they can't trade DeAndre Ayton anywhere until at least January 15th.
Wow. Okay, that's a long time.
And DeAndre Ayton will also have the power to veto any trade for the next year. So,
okay.
He's either a Sun or he is where he wants to be, which is probably Indiana. So that's an interesting.
Why would he want to be in Indiana?
Because you don't know what's going on in Indiana. I have been keeping tabs on it. There is something happening. A championship team is being formed. I think DeAndre wants to be a part of it.
I think there's too much going on in the East for them to even compete.
No, not this year, but
I don't even see the next 2 years them being able to, especially with how good the Cavs are getting. So.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you just drafted a superstar. You traded for Tyrese Halliburton last year, who could be a superstar. If DeAndre would have signed there's your big man along to go with Miles Turner. Something could have been brewing there, but the Suns stopped it from happening. So I guess this means he's with the Suns for the next year, and then he'll be an unrestricted free agent.
Yeah, then he can just do whatever he wants, pretty much. So yeah, that's pretty much what's all going on in the NBA. Some sad Blues news. David Perron up and left the Blues for not a lot of money either to go play for the Detroit Red Wings, of all teams to go play for.
Bruh.
I mean, I know St. Louis is bad, but it's not like you improved really.
No, not at all.
Detroit.
I mean, not only are you going to a same caliber city, but you're going to a worse caliber team.
Way worse, right?
Way worse, yeah. Well, I mean, they did just acquire a former Blues goalie, now Ville Husso. So we got I don't know if you saw that, but we got a 3rd-round pick for him. He was going to leave in free agency, but Detroit they're desperate for a goalie. They had the worst goaltending numbers in the league last year. I mean, I think they gave up on average like 4 goals a game or something like that, which is terrible. So they were in desperate need of a goalie, and they saw their opportunity to jump on Ville Husso. So
it's kind of like
we traded him for something instead of
the Detroit Blues up there right now.
With those two, yeah.
Yeah. A little sub team. But yeah, David Perron, I mean, he's been in St. Louis and left it a couple of times now. But I know he always likes to go on 101 ESPN and do their show with them. So I bet that stung for Randy Carricker and company.
Yeah.
In the morning show. But
it's business. Business is business.
Business is business. So yeah, that's pretty much all we got on the Blues as well.
I have a note for the British Open, or I think the actual name of it is the Open Championship. That finished up yesterday. I didn't watch any of it because it's in Britain, and I'm pretty sure we said we were protesting British things from now on. So
no, just Wimbledon.
I'm down for protesting all British things, to be honest. Even the London football games.
No,
I will be down to protest.
I wouldn't do that.
I'm like a colonist.
I am in on London football games.
Even though the Packers do have one this year, I think. So I might have to
opt back in.
Yeah, the suspension might have to be over for British sports, but that's actually not the reason.
Not Wimbledon, though. Wimbledon is banned for life.
Indefinitely. But I just didn't watch it because I, 1, forgot it was this weekend, and 2, it was so early. Like, because they go it on British time, so it's like 5-6 hours ahead of us. So
yeah.
So it's like, I think I got a notification at like noon. It was like Cam Smith wins the Open Championship. I'm like, it's over already, but
I watched it some on Saturday. No, I didn't watch the final round on Sunday. I watched it some on Saturday. And one thing about the British Open, I think it's called the Old Course, or St. Andrews, I think is what its real name is. And Cam Smith, he literally shot on -20. So, and that's what they were expecting. And usually, with majors, it's like -7, -8, those kinds of scores. So not to say that this course was super easy, but it was pretty easy for some of these guys that had it figured out.
Yeah.
And by the 4th day of playing it, Cam Smith had it figured out. And so did the other Cam.
Cameron Johnson?
I don't know if that's his last name.
Maybe it is. He didn't. Cameron Young, that's what it was.
So it was a battle of the Cams. And another little fact here about this: he is the first ever Cameron to win an Open, or to win a major at that, not just an Open, a major. So
really,
yeah, first ever Cameron.
And he's Australian. So. Yeah.
And it also looks like the LIV Tour is offering him $90 million to join now after his victory at St. Andrews. So
he would
if he joins that as well.
Well,
so
I wouldn't even blame him at this point. They're just offering him. I don't know if we've talked much about the LIV Tour on here or not.
No. We can give our quick thoughts here on the LIV Tour. My thoughts on the LIV Tour is that's fine if they want to go over there and make that money, but they should not be allowed on any of the PGA Tour. They shouldn't be allowed at
the majors.
The U.S. Open. They shouldn't be allowed at the British Open. They shouldn't be allowed at the Masters. Any of the big ones, they should not be able to compete in. And the same with the little ones, too, like the Fortnite Open. They should be able to play at that one. Just pretty much any PGA event, they should not be able to play in. That's my opinion. If they want to go over there and take the Saudi money, they can do that, but don't let them come back and play on PGA soil.
But for those of you who don't know, the LIV Golf Tour is it's obviously Saudi money. That's where it's coming from. But it's is it in Saudi Arabia or is
it? I mean, they just had one. They had just had a tournament in Oregon.
Okay,
I think it's weekends ago, but it's all over.
Yeah. It's all over the world.
Just like the PGA Tour, but it's ran by the Saudis.
Yeah.
So,
and basically they're just offering them millions upon millions of dollars just to join. Not like the PGA, the only way you make money is through the tournaments, and where
win
you
the
rank.
purse.
Which, the LIV Tour is offering you money just to join.
And they have the money.
Oh, yeah, they have plenty of money, with the Saudis over there backing it up. But back to your point about, like, them competing in the majors once they leave the PGA Tour, I don't know if the PGA Tour can afford that because these are, like, the best golfers that are going over there to the LIV Tour. And, I mean, with Tiger Woods, he's soon to be retired, I would think. Probably just golf at the Masters here pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to have, like, a lot of top-tier golfers left.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying with that for sure. Because even, like, a PGA golfer, Cam Smith, right? He just won yesterday. He's on the PGA Tour, but now they're stealing him. Now, the one thing
they're trying to. He hasn't done anything yet, but
one thing about the good players all going over to the dark side, so to speak.
I love it.
Is it gives a chance for up and coming guys to win too, and you'll just start to love those names.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as Tiger's playing at the Masters, and he's going to be playing at the Masters until he dies, so
yeah,
that's still the number one attraction. Tiger's probably never ever going to go over. There's no need for him to. He's like Jordan and LeBron, and he's a billionaire,
super rich.
So,
and there's no need for him to ruin his legacy like that at all.
No, especially at the twilight of his career.
Yeah.
So they don't really have to worry about that.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of these guys that have established good golf careers, guys like Dustin Johnson or
Brooks Koepka. Phil was the first one.
Yeah.
And the problem I also have with these guys when they go over is they don't just step up and say why they're going over.
It's money.
It's just money. And if they would just come out and say, quit the bullshit and just say, I signed to play on the LIV Tour because they offered me a stupid amount of money compared to what I'm making on the tour, the PGA Tour that is, and I just had to take it. It's that much money. I don't really care where it comes from. It's that much money. If they would just say that, I wouldn't have as much of a problem with it. But they kind of like sugarcoat it. They don't really talk about where it's coming from or that it's about the money really as much. They try to just kind of bullshit their way through it. And that part, I don't stand for that. That's for sure.
Well, I don't blame them because if they did come out and just say that, then they'd be heavily criticized. But even though already everyone knows that's why anyway. But I mean, you're not going to see like the young golfers like a Will Zalatoris or a Colin Morikawa or a Patrick Cantlay. Guys like those that are trying to make a career in the PGA, they're not going to. That's the thing that the PGA has is that they're kind of the good guys' reputation here.
They are.
And once you go, once you go to the LIV Tour, you never go back. It's kind of like you're not welcome back here. So those guys that are still like up and coming, trying to make careers, they're going to be there.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what I said. Hopefully, as long as those guys stay, while we are losing stars to the LIV Tour, as long as they're at home, the up-and-coming guys, then we'll just start to follow them more and love them more, and it'll work out in the end. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right, you want to do a little bit of Cardinals talk here?
I think we should save it all for Jake.
Save it all?
Save it all for Jake.
All right, we can give a quick recap, though, I guess. Let's see what they played the Dodgers, the Reds, and the Phillies, I think, since we last talked. The last time we recorded was that they were in the middle of a series with the Braves. They barely avoided a sweep. So, obviously yesterday's game, Sunday against the Reds, got postponed. That was supposed to be the return of Steven Matz. But, I mean, we're going into the All-Star week.
Thank God that was postponed.
Here in a second, so
yeah. I think we will do Tough Scene of the Week before we go in, right?
Yeah. Let's do Tough Scene of the Week right here.
Okay, I'll go first. I have two.
I also have two. We definitely probably have one of the same.
Okay.
Just because it was that much of a tough scene. I'm calling it right now that we both have this.
First off, Leonard Fournette is fat as shit. Apparently, he weighs 260 plus pounds, which is way over his expected weight. And
For context,
coaches
he weighed in at 228 pounds at the end of the season last year.
Yeah. So plus 32 at least. They're not saying how much over 260 he is. But I'm sure Coach Bowles is very pissed off, and I'm sure
Coach
all the
Brady
other
as well.
coach, all the other offensive coaches, I'm sure, like, what the hell? So yeah, playoff winning is fat.
He's pulling the good old Eddie Lacy method.
Yeah. Maybe he ate his way to 260 so that he can earn some incentives to lose weight, money.
Maybe.
Kind of like the Seahawks tried to do with Eddie Lacy. And then he'll just be like, okay, I just pocketed $50K for getting back to my normal weight of 230.
Yeah, maybe he was in contact with Eddie Lacy, Eddie Lacy's actually not fat anymore. I saw a picture of him the other day.
Good for him.
He's like back to normal, I guess, but he's still old. He's never going to come back in the league, but it is funny to make those jokes because he literally ate his way out of the league.
Yeah.
Kind of like Zion.
And then I'll do my other one and then bounce it over to year two, unless it's the same here.
All right.
The Yacht guy on Twitter, whose gas tank cost $50,975.03 to fill up a $7,700 gallon tank.
That's not real. That cannot be real.
It is.
How big is a yacht
real.
tank? 7,000 gallons? You know how much liquid that is?
You have to understand that this yacht is probably massive. So like there's yacht, it's probably about the size of a GTA yacht, if I had to guess, if you know what I'm talking about. Just a huge yacht. And so at first when I looked at this, I was trying to read the numbers because I had never seen a gas like price that high when you finish filling it up. So at first I was just like, oh, it's just $509.75. And that's pretty typical for big boats, say like at the Lake of the Ozarks or cabin cruisers to fill up that are going on the ocean. And then I looked at it again and saw the 0.03, and I was like, holy shit, that's $5,000. And then I was like, oh, wait, that's $50,000, 975.
Yeah.
And it's unreal. The craziest part about it is that guy just dropped $51,000
on gas.
To fill up his gas tank. But it's just mind-boggling because some people like,
that's their entire yearly income.
Yeah, that's what they make in a year. And sometimes some jobs 2 years if you take away, like what you pay for your house, what you pay for your electric bill.
Expenses.
Expenses.
Or just what you take away in taxes.
So, by the way, it's probably not as much of a tough scene for the yacht guy to drop $51,000 because if he's filling up his gas tank for $51,000, he has the money. That's what people I don't think really understand. He has the money to drop $51,000.
That's like that's like us going out and buying a nice dinner.
Yeah. So he has the money to do this, especially if it's a 7,700 gallon tank. That's got to be a huge yacht. So this is not that much of a tough scene for the yacht guy. At the end of the day, it's a tough scene for us.
For the American people.
For the American people that are looking at this and seeing 51,000 dropped on this guy's gas tank and just being like, wow, we live in a society.
Imagine the things that could have been done with that $51,000.
It's hard to fathom.
Yeah.
I mean, I get upset. Like the last 3 or 4 times I've had to go to the gas pump, I've had to spend about $60 each time I filled up. And that's demoralizing as hell. So I can't even fathom this.
All right, so I looked up the average yacht gas tank size, and it says on average a yacht can hold around 25,000 gallons of fuel. It ranges from small yachts hold 1,000, while the biggest ones can hold up to 250,000 gallons of fuel. So literally, if you have like a huge yacht, you're spending more than $1 million. Probably more than $1 million.
You would spend more if you filled it all the way up.
Yeah.
See, and that's another thing is I think this guy's tank was probably 7,700 gallons.
That's not even an average yacht size.
That's probably about small to mid, I guess.
Yeah.
Mid-size. and I'm assuming he filled it up all the way because it like if you I'll post the graphic on the screen if you see, but like it looks like it stopped pretty much right at 7,700, you know, so like pretty exact. So that's why I'm assuming that's filled up all the way. I guess it could be more, and he didn't go all the way, but it looks like he did. But yeah, like Luke said, you know, even if it was 25,000 gallons, that would be about 100. You'd be dropping about $125,000 to fill up your tank. So maybe this guy is making it out easy, actually.
Maybe. But $25,000. I mean, that's if you or 25,000 gallons. Like if you fill up that gas tank, that's over $100,000.
I don't even know if the city of Washington in one day dispenses 25,000 gallons of gas.
Probably
it might
not.
be close, but I don't know if they do. So,
yeah, insane. All right, I guess I can go to my tough scenes. I'm surprised you didn't have this one, maybe because you thought I would have it. But the Fox Saturday Night Baseball broadcast.
Oh shit!
Yeah. So they just showed this graphic. They're like going to commercial break, right? The inning just finished. They show some Aaron Judge highlights because he just got, you know, an RBI single. They show him high-fiving teammates in the dugout, and then they cut to like the logos of the Yankees and Boston Red Sox. They just cut, you know, to like an overhead view, and then they're like on the ground, and they're like in these squares, right? Kind of cool that you know they put the logos into squares. Average fan wouldn't think much of it, you know. It's like, okay, that's a graphic.
I had no idea what was wrong with the graphic when I first looked at it because it's dark out in the graphic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And so I was just like, okay. But then, obviously, social media people dig into it, and they find out, that spot that they just used, that's the 9/11 memorial, and those two squares that they just put the logos in and used it on a screen as like logos, those represent the Twin Towers.
Yep.
Where almost 4,000 people died.
Yeah.
In one day from a tragic terrorist attack. So, and no apology has been made by the Fox broadcast yet either.
Yeah.
It's just they're just kind of like hoping that people forget about it. But that is an incredibly tough scene because, I mean, that's like ultimate disrespect.
Yeah.
One thing about it, so like I said, and I'll put the graphic probably right here, that we're talking about. And like I said, it's really dark out in the graphic. It's the city in New York at night.
Yeah.
And you just can't really tell what's on the ground. If it was light out, like if it was a day game graphic,
you would be able to tell that because I just went there. I was just there. I would have been able to tell that was the 9/11 memorial. But since it was night, you just really couldn't tell, and that's why I just scrolled right past it. I had no idea what it was until I read some comments. And it was probably just, you know, one of their graphics team guys who probably just wasn't really thinking too much or didn't have many ideas of how he could fit in a good-looking graphic square somewhere in the city of New York, and so he just put
like,
where 9/11 happened.
Yeah. Where the biggest terrorist attack in U.S. history just happened.
Yeah.
A memorial for that. Let's just, you know, put some sports logos in there.
So that was a wild one. You're right. I totally forgot about that one. I think maybe I forgot about it because at first glance I didn't even really recognize what was going on.
Yeah, that was kind of just a slam dunk for tough scene. Like when I was thinking of what tough scenes to put, I was like, oh, this is an easy one. You know, this is just somebody alley-ooped it to me, and it's really right there just for me to slam it down. So
that is the epitome of tough scene.
Yes, exactly. When we talk about tough scenes, this is it. So that guy the graphics guy probably got fired, I would imagine. And if he hasn't, then that's I don't even know what to say if he hasn't been fired, but. My second one is not nearly as bad as the first, obviously. It's Ian Rappaport. He got dunked on this morning while he was conducting a live interview on the Pat McAfee show. So he tweeted out, actually I don't think he tweeted, he said it live on NFL Now, on the NFL Network channel. They had him on for an interview, and he was like, Don't be surprised if J.K. Dobbins doesn't play Week 1 because of the severity of his injury, and sources are telling me that the Ravens are going to be careful with him. Don't be surprised if he doesn't play Week 1. It's not a sure thing. He then tweeted out the clip of him saying that on NFL Now, and J.K. Dobbins retweeted it and was like, he was like, "Oh, don't even worry about me. I'll be ready for Week 1." He's like, "I'm not even going to go on the PUP list, the PUP. I will definitely be ready for Week 1. You have no idea how my rehab's going." And right when that happened, Ian Rappaport was on the Pat McAfee show doing an interview, and so of course they're making fun of him for like, "Oh, look at this, look at this. Look, he just got dunked on." And Ian Rappaport, he didn't hesitate though. He's like, "No, he goes, I really hope that he's ready for Week 1. Obviously, as we all do, you don't want to see a guy get injured." He goes, "But I'm still trusting my source saying that it's not a sure thing at all." So, but it was funny to see that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Just you don't see that on happen live ever, so that was kind of cool to see that.
Kind of like Schefter with the
first Brady retirement thing. He's like, "I'm sticking with it. This
Yep.
is correct." So,
And it ended up being for a little bit. I guess the initial report was correct, but
so yeah,
that is tough scene.
yeah.
All right.
All right, so now we're going to kick it over to our interview with Jake Baldwin.
Yeah, talk about
the All-Star weekend as a whole, pretty much, and kind of the Cardinals moving forward.
Well, it's not a weekend; it's just All-Star Week. But
True, doesn't fall on a weekend this year. So yeah, we'll see you in the interview.
Well, I think first we should say that the interview is brought to you by our great sponsors over at Anchor.
Hey guys, it's Cam. I'm supposed to be sending you over to the Jake Baldwin interview, and I will in just a second. First, I'd like to give a disclaimer on certain parts of the opening part of the show where we have to cut in between the video audio and the microphone audio. The microphones just did not work out very well this week. It's the same in the interview, but we go back and forth between the camera audio and the microphone audio. And so, yes, you'll be able to tell when we switch back and forth, but it is way better audio than if we just leave the microphones in the whole time. So I hope you understand. It is an awesome interview. Jake is awesome, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's send you over to it.
No, please, everyone be quiet.
Okay, welcome back. Welcome to our very first Show Me Show podcast interview with special guest host Michael Baldwin, MLB Baseball Extraordinaire. Do you want to get Clint? Set Clint up. He's going to help us answer lots of questions about the All-Star break and Cardinals baseball moving forward. And just bring us some good knowledge to start the second half, get you ready for the second half of the baseball season, as well as kind of, a nice little slight recap and of what's going down so far. Jake, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Jake. I'm the baseball extraordinaire. I mean, I'm thrilled to be on the show, the first ever guest, a moment in history.
Yeah.
So thanks for having me on the show.
No problem. We're actually hopefully looking to have you on in the future as well. So, welcome. We're going to just get right down into it. And I think you read this question, so I think you might have something in mind to say by now. It's pretty simple. We're approaching the deadline for the Cardinals. Should we let Mo cook? And if so, what is your version of Mo cooking here as the deadline approaches?
Well, I mean, I think it's an obvious yes to should we let Mo cook. I mean, in the past, when we last two times, I think Mosaic had free range, kind of. He's pulled off deals for Goldschmidt and Arenado, and look where that's gotten us. So, I mean, obviously, we need to let Mo cook. Maybe Bill DeWallet should stop penny pitching. We had a ton of money this offseason that went off the payroll. We spent it on Steven Matz and Drew Verhagen and Corey Dickerson. So,
Right.
I mean, I think that we obviously need to let Mo cook. I think he does a lot better in trades than he does with free agent signings. So that, I think, will especially help with pitching because he struggled with pitching signings in the past, like with Steven. Well, Matz is kind of too early to tell, but guys like Mike Leake, Brett Cecil, Andrew
Holland,
Miller,
Greg Holland.
Cardinal legend, Greg Holland.
But think about like a Miles Michaelis or somebody that's worked out for him.
True. I mean, Miles obviously worked out. He did give that big extension, I think, but it kind of worked out, I think.
He's an all-star this year.
Yeah.
So.
Mickey Mouse all-star. I mean, he had to replace someone. That's a fake all-star. He's as much of an all-star as Albert is, I think.
Well, he's still fifth in the league in ERA, though.
That's true. But I think, realistically, we need to get pitching. I also don't think it'll hurt if we get a catcher, since we don't have one. Ours are dead. Even the ones that come to the plate are dead. I mean, Austin Romine and Andrew Kisner. I was big on Kisner. I think he used to be held hostage, but rightfully so, it looks like.
they were holding in the true Andrew Kisner.
I mean, so obviously I think we should maybe look for a catcher because Yadi's coming back eventually, but I think he should stick to just catching Wainwright. So, I mean, I don't want to see Kisner as much as we have to, and I don't want to see Yadi, obviously.
But if you think about a blueprint for some of these teams like the Astros, look at their two catchers. You know, they're both hitting below the Mendoza line. And they're still one of the best teams in the league, but they're like defensive-minded catchers, which is kind of what Yadi is. So if he is able to come back, you know, or maybe a team like the Guardians they never have an offensive catcher, so like it can work. It's not like a important offensive position.
But I mean, these teams aren't having catchers that are 500 years old. I mean, Yadi's pretty old. He's pretty out of shape. I mean,
the Astros have Jason Castro.
He doesn't play every day. It's Martin Maldonado mostly. I mean, yeah, Yadi's been known for being a defensive catcher, but I don't think it's far-fetched to say that as the years gone by, he's gotten a little lazy. I mean, I can think of a couple games last year where down the stretch, Yadi definitely didn't block a ball, and it very easily could have cost us. But I mean, I don't think we have to go out and trade for get a Mike Piazza hitting catcher. But I mean, I feel like we can't get any worse than what Kisner and Romine have been lately.
So this will lead into another question that we have. Is Yadi dead?
Controversial, because he has been. He's been, they sent him home to Puerto Rico, which I get, but at the same time I don't. It seems very odd to me. I don't think that I don't know. I just don't see that happening to any other player really. I think Yadi has deserved it a little. I mean, 20 years with the organization, and he's going to be a Hall of Famer, but I think what he brings to the clubhouse is a little bit more than what people I think most people understand what he brings to the clubhouse, but we had that stretch a couple weeks ago, or about a week ago, where we got swept by the Braves in 4 and lost a couple other ones, and I think that someone like Yadi in the locker room really could have helped. And I get that he's not hurt, but it's not like anyone's asking him to come play, but just what he brings in the locker room really could have helped. But he's clearly not dead. He got ejected from a basketball game in Puerto Rico the other day, so he's very much alive. The ankle didn't look too bad. The knees didn't look too bad in that video, He's up kicking basketballs, so, I mean, he didn't look too bad.
Do you think maybe the Cardinals are resting him for a playoff run?
Well, I guess you could say that, but we got to make the playoffs first. I mean, you can rest for the playoffs all you want, but I mean, a true baller, I would say. I feel like he would play as much as he can or something.
Jake, I 100% agree with you on the fact that sending him home or whatever, it's a little odd, and the part that I definitely agree with you with is that him being there in the locker room, his absence, it's probably having a little bit of an effect on the team. Like, he's there and then he's not there, and that's, if you've ever been a part of a team sport, when you miss somebody for that long, it's weird when they come back as well. So that's a little weird. I think that if they want him to come back, they need to do it soon so that he can kind of get in the rhythm of things. If they want him to be solid whether it's on the defensive side or the offensive side, because, if you just jump back into things and don't get in any kind of rhythm, it's going to look much of the same for our catchers here going forward. So that I definitely agree on. What do you think that the front office is going to look to do here? Because I know you said, it'd be ideal to get pitching, and I 100% agree, but do you think that what kind of targets do you think? Who are they going to target for pitching that might be easier maybe for Mo to get, or like who's on the market?
Well, I mean, that's a great question, and we'll never know, really. I don't think we'll really ever know who really is on the market because, rumors come out all the time, and I'm sure they're trying with what they got and what they know, but, I'm a little afraid that we're going to have a deadline like we had last year, and we're going to get 40-year-old John Lester and J.A. Happ, which, I mean, they helped, but you see Nolan Arenado coming out to the media and saying we need to add and stuff like that. So, I mean, I clearly think they got to do something, and they usually do. They usually do a little something. But I feel like we haven't had, like, a big trade deadline in a really long time. And I think that if they're being true to their name with this Yadi Pools and Wainwright send-off, then they got to do something big because, if we don't win the World Series, it's obviously going to be a loss. Any season that you don't is a loss. But, like, a playoff spot isn't guaranteed, so it will look even terrible. I think it'd look terrible if in Wainwright, Pools, and Molina's last year we don't even make the playoffs. So we obviously got to add.
Yeah. This is my question here, but with the recent rumors about Juan Soto, there's been a lot of talk about potential trade packages with some of the top teams like the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Padres, and then the Cardinals are up there as well. I love it. I love the idea. I love the talk, but I don't think it'll happen. What do you think?
I don't think it'll happen. I don't think it should happen. I think it's gonna right now. I don't even think we can fathom the trade package that's going to take to get Juan Soto. And, he's obviously a superstar, and he's on a track to be a Hall of Famer. But, I mean, I don't know. If we might be sending 6 or 7 of our best prospects to get him. And it's not even a guarantee that he re-signs with us. I mean, we've taken the chance with Goldschmidt and Arenado with them re-signing, but I mean, look at the trade packages that we gave up for Goldschmidt and Arenado, and then look at the projected trade.
They would be nothing comparable wise.
Yeah.
So
I don't think we would see. We obviously haven't seen a deal like this in MLB history. I don't think what's going to happen. So I mean, it could be huge.
Do you think it's going to happen this year? But with any other team, do you think that Juan Soto will be dealt by the end of the deadline?
No, and I don't think he should. I mean, he still has he's still controlled by the Nationals for a couple more years. And I mean, unless they get a package, an offer that they can't pass up, if someone is willing to deal 6 or 7 of their best prospects, then I think they should take it, but I don't think there's any rush. Like, I don't think he's going to, like, hold out and not play. So I think there's no rush for them to make a move.
Yeah, it didn't. When they interviewed him at the All-Star events yesterday, it sounded like he didn't really want to be traded. He was just like, my hands are tied. It's up to them. So, yeah, what you said about the holdout, I think is completely true.
Yeah, I mean, I think he says he doesn't want to be traded, but, I mean, no offense to the Nationals, but they're probably one of the top 10 bottom organizations in baseball. So, I mean, he probably doesn't want to stay there, if being completely honest. I mean, they won a World Series a couple years ago, but they have one of the worst minor leagues, one of the worst farm systems. And that's why they probably should, if they get a package for Soto, they probably should take it and try to rebuild the farm. But I don't think Soto wants to stay there. Already a ton of money locked into Steven Strasburg. He hasn't even pitched this year, I don't think, besides maybe a couple innings. So they have a ton of money going there. They can obviously afford Juan Soto, but if he's turning down $440 million, does he really want to stay that bad?
Do you think that's just not his number by any chance? I mean, Do you think he could have a number like around Trout's?
Yeah, probably. I mean, someone's going to give it to him when he hits the free agent market. I mean, yeah, because obviously we know teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Red Sox, they'll just give a blank check to someone like that.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I obviously think he's going to get it. And I don't know if he'll get it from the Nationals, though. But, like, if he turns down $440 million from the Nationals, but then gets offered like $475 from another team that's way more storied, then obviously he's going to take that one, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I could see that, and you're exactly right. I could definitely see one of those two, whether it's the Yankees or the Dodgers, or even somebody like the Mets, really.
Steve Cohen
Yeah.
does run the league.
So
He can buy anyone he wants.
Mm-hmm.
This one's kind of putting you on the spot here. Kind of shifts back to the Cardinals. Do you think that they will hold on to make the offs here?
Yeah, I think they will. The Cardinals always pull off some devil magic.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think there's an extra wild card spot this year. Luke, you could correct me on that. But
Yeah,
I
there
think there's
is.
3 this year. So, I mean, obviously, I think last year, I think we were a lot worse, to be honest. And we made the playoffs, but obviously a 17-game win streak helps.
Mhm.
But I think that we'll obviously pull something off.
Yeah. You mentioned.
Do you think it's going to be division or wild card, though?
Wild card. I don't think we have, to be completely honest, unless we pull off some monster deals at the deadline. I really don't think, because comparable to us, the Brewers have such good pitching. I mean, they probably have the best, you could argue, the best rotation in baseball. And their bullpen is fine. I mean, haters, but they have Devin Williams. And our bullpen is just fine, I think. But the rotation can't compete at all.
You mentioned at last year's deadline, Lester and Hap, they helped, like you said, to kind of get us to the playoffs in that final push, and it didn't look horrible, but they're nowhere in sight now. Do you think if they do make a move, do you think that's kind of more how it would be, like to just finish out this season, or maybe look more long term for once? All right, we're back after a little technical difficulty. So yeah.
Just one last, do you think long term or more short term to just kind of get us to where we need to go this year?
I really, if I had to make one prediction, I would probably say that these deals benefit us mostly this year, just because it's the Wainwright, Molina, Pujols send off. So I mean, I could see them go like all in with whatever money they have, and then worry about free agency when we get there. Because I mean, with Yadi, Wainwright, and Pujols contracts coming off, that could free up like $30 million, and then they could use that to re-sign the guys they traded for. So I mean, I think they'll think. I hope they think of the win now scenario.
Yeah. Okay, so we're actually going to jump to kind of All-Star Weekend, and this is all one of our favorite summer sports weekends.
Even though this week it's actually All-Star Week, not weekend, it doesn't fall on the weekend. But one of the questions I have for you, I'm kind of a stadium guy. Did the Derby being in Dodger Stadium have anything to do with their numbers? Is it a harder stadium to hit the ball out of?
I mean, they have kind of, in the corners of the field, they have that shorter porch.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I guess, and Luke might be able to give a real answer on this one, but I think it's considered a pitcher's ballpark, is it? Or is it more a hitter's? I think it's a pitcher's, just because, I mean, it's no Yankee Stadium or Fenway, how short it is. I would say, but I mean, I think it would maybe be average size, but I wouldn't consider it. I mean, obviously, it would be different in a stadium like Camden Yards or Coors Field.
It's definitely, I don't think it falls on the top 10 list of hitters' ballparks, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I didn't know,
They're still the best hitters in the league. I didn't know really if it's still just batting practice, if it would really affect their numbers. But I think it kind of did. It was they weren't like super duper high as we've seen kind of over the last few years,
Mm-hmm.
but they still put on a show. That's for sure.
I think we got spoiled a little last year with it being in Coors Field. I mean, obviously the ball just flies there. So, I mean, last year's Derby was awesome. And I think the Derby usually always lives up to the expectation. So, I mean, I'm not, like, disappointed or anything in yesterday's show.
Yeah.
So, obviously, we're recording this right after the Derby. Who did you have to win the whole thing before the Derby yesterday?
Well, I mean, I thought Pete was going to three-peat.
Yeah.
But he didn't. And to be completely honest, I'm kind of glad he didn't. I feel like Pete lives for the home run derby, and I almost feel like he takes it a little too hard.
Yeah, he was being kind of a weirdo almost.
Yeah, he was. And I mean, he probably does. I mean, he does live for the home run derby. I mean, he did get destroyed in a brawl by the Cardinals' first base coach. So, I mean, but he's having a good season, so it's not like this is his one, hoorah kind of thing. But I almost feel like Albert's up there, and he's, laughing during the whole thing. He's, up there in the box laughing, and Pete's, meditating and lifting weights, and it's just come on, man.
So I did have Juan Soto winning it, just for the clarification. I predicted the winner, but what was the most surprising part of the Derby, I guess?
Well, I mean, a little bit of bias here, but I think Albert did a lot better than a lot of people thought. He beat Schwarber. I actually had him going to the finals, but I thought there would be a little bit of TV and drama involved in that, maybe. But I mean, but I also thought, as old as he is and stuff, it is Albert, and you put him in a top 10 list of hitters all time. So I mean, I kind of knew that he'd give us a little bit of a show. So I would put him as my surprise.
Yeah. Some things that I took away from the Derby is not only just Albert, and they the whole week and last week when they kind of announced that he would be in it, they're like, oh, he's the hitter with the most home runs ever going into a Derby. That was pretty cool. Another thing that I found really cool was that Julio Rodriguez, he's making the league minimum, $700,000 this year. And, obviously Juan beat him in the finals, but if he would have won, he would have made $1 million from winning the home run derby, and that's more than what he would have made this year.
But second place gets $700K, so he
matched it.
Yeah.
He matched his season's earnings for just going out and hitting. So I think that was really cool to kind of think about, and you kind of forget about that because he is a rookie, and like I said, he's on the league minimum, but he's already such a superstar almost, and you automatically just think that they're getting paid the big bucks. But $700,000, while that is a shitload of money, that it's not really comparable to some of these other guys are making. So that was a kind of a cool twist to where if he would have won. But
and next year the Derby's in Seattle, so I mean that's a cool story there. I mean, I think he obviously goes back. He put on a show this year.
Yeah.
It does make
awesome.
Oh yeah. It does make me a little mad. I mean, I think the final score, in total, Soto hit 64 and Rodrigo hit 80, 81 or something like that. So I mean, obviously he put on a way better show than Juan did. And I feel like in recent memory that's happened a couple times with the new bracket. It's kind of who you go against is a lot of what makes the winner.
Yeah, they definitely try to win their round, and then they obviously cut it off, too. That's another thing. Even last night, Juan would have had a few extra seconds to keep going. So, but I agree. He didn't hit as many, and it's based off the bracket you beat who's in front of you. But I don't really have a problem with that either, though. That's a fine system, in my opinion.
Another thing that I take away, and this is very little and very petty, I think, but I thought the announcers were terrible. I hated it for that reason.
You missed Chris Berman.
Yeah. I was just about to say, I just missed the back.
That one's gone,
And when Schwarber was going against Pujols, I saw this on Twitter. When Carl Ravitch was going, he said 16, and there's 17, and there's 18, and 17 and 18 both didn't go out. So he was I think he was watching more of the TV in front of him instead of watching the actual derby,
Mhm.
which I mean is probably hard to do because I'm pretty sure they're on field level. Like I don't think they're up in the booth for that.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
mean,
but
it's a little harder. But obviously, Chris Berman is a legend.
yeah, I do feel like they were very anticlimactic with it. Like instead of being like, "Oh, there's a deep drive," it's just like, "Oh, there's 18." It was like really kind of took away from it. I think a little bit. So that was a good observation.
I think maybe next year we put Castellanos in the home run derby and get Tom Brenneman on there.
And there's a deep drive to left field. That would actually kill the rating.
I think so too. That'd be all over Twitter.
So I have a question about the All-Star game, which is going to be tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So, what makes this MLB All-Star game like different than all the other leagues' All-Star games?
What makes the MLB, or do you mean like 2022 specifically?
The MLB. Like what makes it special?
Well, I mean, not to like diss on the other leagues, but the NBA All-Star game has kind of turned into like a. No, I don't even know how to explain.
No,
it, really.
I can already
Like,
definitely understand what you're saying.
200 to 210, and then the Pro Bowl is
A shit show.
yeah. So, I mean, I think that the MLB is the one that, and I think it's also because it's baseball. It's kind of the hardest to like
Mess up.
mess up, and like in football you can like take it. Football and NBA, I feel like you can kind of just like go through the motions. But like hitting a baseball and stuff, you can't really like just go through the motions and hit it out of the yard against like Clayton Kershaw and pitchers like that. So I think that makes it special, and that makes it something to watch.
What are ways that we could improve it? So obviously there was a big change this year with the All-Star game. Do you think that's good or bad for the game?
What change are you talking about?
The extra innings, like if it's tied after 9
Oh,
innings.
well, I mean, I don't know if we'll actually get to see that. I mean, I could only remember one, but with that one in recent memory that went to extra innings in Miami, I think.
The Robinson Cano home run.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that'll be cool. That's a cool twist. But, I mean, I think that'll happen once in a blue moon. I mean, yeah, I think it'll happen once every while. And, I mean, really in the last 40 years or so, the American League's dominated the All-Star game. So, I mean, it's not – it's usually it feels like it's not really ever a nail-biter, I don't think. Like, it's obviously still fun to watch no matter what the score is, but I feel like usually it's, you know, who's by the fourth or fifth inning, you got a good idea of who's going to win.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, it's they added if it's tied after 9 innings, instead of going into extra innings and playing that way, it's just a home run derby, and 3 people will get 3 swings for a swing off, and then whoever hits the most home runs wins.
I feel like that could be electric, though. Just, you know, the whole game following on those swings, especially if it's tied, because if it's tied, obviously, then it's a lot more tension, you know. Maybe not tension is the right word, but, you know, these are the most competitive athletes in the world, so if it comes down to a tie and then a swing off, selecting those guys to go out and swing for you, that would be electric. But like Jake said, that's kind of a once in a blue moon kind of situation. Kind of a double question here. Looking at the rosters, who do you have in this All-Star game? You just mentioned that the AL usually wins it most of the time, it seems like. Do you think that they'll do it again? And do you think we'll get some runs tonight, or do you think it'll be more of a lower scoring kind of affair?
I'm definitely picking AL, and I'm definitely picking a lot of runs. I'm a little mad Kershaw's starting for the NL. I don't think he's been the best pitcher in the National League this year. But obviously the game's at Dodger Stadium, and you never know when players get older like Kershaw. You never know how many more All-Star games they have left in them. So, I mean, it's obviously a cool story that he's pitching in the All-Star game starting. But, I mean, I think it should be Sandy Alcantara, Cardinal legend. But, I mean, I think that could play into it. I mean, obviously he's an All-Star. He's obviously been one of the best pitchers in the league this year. But I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like something like that could go not terribly wrong because it's not like tragic, but I just feel like it should have been Alcantara.
Yeah. About to wrap up here with the All-Star talk here. What's your favorite part about All-Star Week? Because we just talked about, some of the other leagues, they don't really do it right anymore, it doesn't seem like. I remember when we were younger, the NFL Pro Bowl used to be kind of meaningful. It used to be something a little bit more special. I don't hate the NBA All-Star Game because you do get to see the best players, and the problem with it is they don't play as much defense. In MLB, the All-Star Game, it's like a real game. MLB or basketball, it just seems like they're just going balls to the wall trying to score 200, kind of like you said. NHL, I think, still actually does theirs kind of well.
I agree. Their skills, showcase too. Those challenges that they have are actually really fun to watch.
I agree. And the NBA, I think the problem that they're having right now is that guys keep dropping out. They won't accept to go into the dunk contest. Mm-hmm. The 3-point contest was won by Karl Anthony Towns last year, so but mostly the dunk contest, I think. Mm-hmm. The dunk contest, while it's not the same as the home run derby, the home run derby is, just some athletic feats, they're just crushing balls over the wall. And in the NBA, they're just dunking like crazy, showing their athleticism. But with guys not accepting to go into it, with Major League Baseball and the home run derby and stuff like that, I feel like they want to go to that stuff. So what's your favorite part about All-Star Weekend?
Well, I feel like my favorite part is the behind-the-scenes stuff, like the red carpet that they have before the All-Star Game, which I think is on today. I think it's on at 2 o'clock, even though it'll be over when you guys watch. But stuff like that, and I saw videos yesterday of Albert with Mike Trout and
Shohei Ohtani on the field and them mic'd up. As a baseball enthusiast, I like that kind of stuff. And I really like the All-Star Game just because of compared to the other sports' All-Star Games now. I hate how the NBA does the draft thing too. I just like the Eastern, Western, and National and American League because that's the classic. That's how it's always been done. So, I really like that. And just because baseball is my favorite sport, so I'm obviously going to have a little bias.
Mm-hmm. All right, as we wrap up here this interview, I know, Jake, you got to get out of here. So, what's one thing here, one key for the Cardinals to win the World Series this year? What do they have to do? One thing. As much as we say they don't have enough pitching, I feel like it always, this kind of goes against what I've said earlier.
But I feel like it's going to come down, in the playoffs, it seems like for the Cardinals, it comes down to their offense. So, I think we worry a lot about the pitching, and kind of the offense sneaks under the rug. But, also we have guys like Goldschmidt having an unbelievable season. But, I think that when it comes down to it, it's Pujols, Wainwright, and Molina's last hoorah. So I think we should just enjoy it. And, I don't really know what the key is. I wish I could tell you, and I would tell John too. But I think we should just enjoy this season, and then when we get to October, worry about it then.
All right, I like that. Thank you, Jake, for coming on, being our first ever guest. You're as we said yesterday when we were recording the intro to it, you're kind of like Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're like the first guest, and so maybe we'll have more Roy Campanellas or Larry Doby's coming on next. So
I like that. Thanks for having me on the show. I can't wait. Maybe we'll do a recap after the season or season show.
I would actually love to have you on right before the postseason, if you wouldn't mind coming on around that time. That would be awesome.
Love to do that.
Yeah. All right. So we wish you, Jake, a very happy, boring day in sports tomorrow. There's no sports on, so hopefully we'll stay busy, and we'll send you back to
the rest of the show.
Close out the show.
Hey, once again, this is Cam. Hopefully you enjoyed the interview. Hopefully you're able to get through the audio going back and forth. We thought it was an awesome interview, and despite the audio changes, we thought it was awesome. So hope you enjoyed it, and let's get to the rest of the show.
That interview was brought to you by Anchor, like Luke said before we went into the interview.
We're not going to play another ad, though. So.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
So thanks to Jake again for coming on the show. I'm sure we'll actually have him on again sometime in the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks, Jake. We have a couple of things to close out the show. Say hello, kiss it goodbye, and our 2 NFL wheel spins to close the show.
Say hello, kiss goodbye is brought to you by Dr. Pepper, the official drink of the Show Me Show.
Always.
A free ad for Dr. Pepper there.
So yeah, I'll go first with the say hello.
SEC Media Days.
Okay. Oh, there was one today.
Almost back. Yeah, it was today. Coach Brian Kelly, who's a wacko, just a true weirdo. Lane Kiffin went on as well, and of course
Eli Drinkwitz of Mizzou went on. He was last. I actually watched him before I came over here and we started the show. They all said, at least Lane and both Coach Drink said a lot of stuff about setting some parameters for NIL. And that, it's almost, and Coach Kiffin actually said it's a lot like baseball, really. The teams with the highest, with the most money are going to have the highest payroll, and they're going to be able to get the best players, kind of like the Yankees and the Dodgers. And he said, unless we set some parameters, that's what it's going to turn into. And, if you think of the schools with the most money to spend, you think of like Texas A&M, Texas, USC, Ohio State, Bama, but I don't even know about Bama because, Bama doesn't have that kind of crazy booster money like these other schools do. So I agree with Coach
UCLA
Kiffin.
is probably a big one.
Oh, yeah. Miami, honestly, they have a lot of them. Notre Dame. So, yeah. Which, and that's kind of how it is now. I mean, those are the better teams nowadays as well, but you still have the random teams that can get good, but with the future of NIL, it looks a little weird. And Coach Drink said the same stuff, pretty much. So yeah, I love SEC Media Days. They're fun. Get you ready for football season. So yeah.
My second say hello is,
one of the before we go back, Greg Sankey said a few things.
Oh yeah.
He opened up the presser, obviously, and he said basically that the SEC is a super conference with the additions. He was like, yeah, Oklahoma and Texas are way better than USC and UCLA. So basically dunking on the Big Ten there, just like laughing in their face. Like, I know you're trying to do, but it's not working. So that's interesting to see how like the commissioner thinks of it as a super conference, which in ways it is.
Yeah.
What, 4 out of the 5?
I mean,
final baseball teams were from the SEC. I mean, the SEC is the powerhouse of college football. So, I mean, even other sports too, that they're pretty good.
Yeah. And moving kind of back to football, SEC was already the best football conference before any of these movings even happened. Yeah, some years, the Big Ten and the ACC had some good years, but the SEC still always reigned supreme. And with the addition of Texas and Oklahoma, they just got way better. But also keep in mind,
Texas and Oklahoma, neither of them have won a national championship in ages. So, and by ages, I mean Vince Young obviously won it, with Texas, but it's been a while for Oklahoma.
Vince Young was a while ago too, really.
Yeah, it really was.
That was like when I was a toddler. So
yeah, it was what 2005, I want to say.
Yeah.
Maybe it might have been 2006, like the year, but yeah. So yeah, it is a super conference, but the Big Ten is also looking to head that way as well, and it kind of just looks like it's going to be a couple really huge conferences in the coming years. I think we talked about this last episode, but yeah. But yeah, my second say hello is Christian Pulisic saying that we're going to Qatar to win the whole damn thing. So say hello to the future U.S. men's national team's first ever World Cup winners, USA.
All right. So is that all your say hellos?
yeah.
My say hello was the Zach Wilson thing. We talked about that earlier. And then Juan Soto trade talks. So earlier, I think it would have been 2 days ago. It was Saturday. Juan Soto denied, I guess would be the
Offer.
word to use here. He denied the offer of 15 years, $440 million as an extension that the Nationals offered him. He declined it. I found the word, not deny. He declined it. And the Nationals then, after he declined it, said, okay, well, we're now going to pursue trade talks. And many experts are saying that it's going to be the biggest trade haul in MLB history and maybe pro sports history, and I would not be surprised. With as good as Juan Soto has been so far, with as many years that he's got left kind of cheap, and then, obviously the Hall of Fame career he's got after that. So I would not be surprised. So those talks are heating up. I think almost every team is going to be involved. I saw a list of some of the top teams. The Cardinals are actually number one that would be involved, which I found interesting because, we have to pay him a lot of money, and that's not something that we've done here recently. But, we have with superstars, with Goldschmidt and Arenado, we paid them a lot of money. So maybe we'd be willing to give Juan Soto a lot of money, too.
Mm-hmm.
We'd certainly have to trade assets to do that. Dodgers, obviously. Yankees, obviously, up there. The Mariners are up there, too. I thought it was interesting. With some other teams. I think the Mets were up there, but they're obviously in the division. So just expect that to happen here as the trade deadline approaches.
Or not.
Yeah. We kind of talked about it in the interview with Jake.
Yeah.
But that's more of the Cardinals side of it. So
yeah.
My kiss it goodbye is simply $5 gasoline.
Oh,
gasoline is now looking at all around town. It's about $4.39, and somewhere else, in some other places in Missouri, it's as low as $4.09.
And
Across the country,
it's getting to about $3.99.
yeah, I was in Tennessee this past week, and it was around the $3.90 mark.
Yeah. So goodbye, $5 gasoline.
Thank
We're
God, too.
coming back down, luckily. So hopefully the next time I fill up, it's not $60, and that will probably be today. So we'll see. So yeah.
Maybe it'll only be like 55.
Yeah, probably.
But hey,
Yeah.
it's a slow fade.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's a slow thing to kind of drip back down to hopefully normal prices, and it's not going to be as low as normal.
Yeah,
because there's still a shortage, but yeah. So yeah, that brings us to our 2 NFL wheel spins.
No, you want to do kiss or goodbye?
I just did mine. I thought yours was the
Juan Soto. No, that was say hello to it.
Oh, okay.
But funny enough, kiss or goodbye is also Juan Soto. Juan Soto to the Cardinals, though, specifically because I love it, but it will not happen. So stop getting my hopes up by talking about it, because I'm trying to accept that it's not going to happen, but I'm still holding out hope. So that's a kiss goodbye.
Okay. So now we have those complete. Our 2 NFL wheel spins once again. Do you have the wheel up?
I do have the wheel up, but I don't have any of the teams that we've already done eliminated. So
okay, that's fine.
We had the
Raiders, Falcons,
Panthers.
Browns. Did we do the Titans?
I don't think so. I don't remember doing. I think we've done 7 teams. We've done 3 of 2.
Raiders, Browns, football team, Panthers,
Falcons.
We've done almost every team in the NFC South. I know that.
Buccaneers. We did the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
So that was 3 in the South. Then we did the Raiders, the Browns, the football team, and who else did we do? We did another team. I know. All right, whatever. We'll figure it out. We'll probably remember.
Yeah, once we spin it.
All right. Man, I cannot believe I don't remember who we did. Come on, is it gonna spin? I clicked the spin it button. There we go. Oh boy, this might be a repeat. Nope. Almost was the Browns.
Oh no.
The team that is actually, we have a fan of this team sitting right next to me. So it is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right,
you got 1 minute on the clock?
Yep.
I'll let you lead this one off.
Okay. First off, we talked about it earlier. The Kreischer Stadium move, tough. Hate it. And I probably won't call it that for at least 3 years, to say the least. I'm excited for the team. I heard that they're going to try and get Najee some less touches so that he doesn't die within the next 3 seasons. I'm excited about the quarterback race, and I think Mitch is going to win it. And I think eventually Pickett is probably going to become the starter either late this year or next year. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the defense is always consistently good. They always talk about the Mike Tomlin being, 500 or better. So I would expect them to be around that range again, 9-8, 8-8, somewhere in there, because they're not like a special, like a dominant team like they have been in the past years. So expect them to be right there. My prediction is still last place. So
I could honestly, if Mitch plays all right, I could see them squeaking in somehow again. So yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. They're always a fun team.
Okay.
1 minute done?
Yep.
All right. Eliminate. Get them out of here. All right. Here we go. Another spin. Obviously, we're going 2 every time now to hopefully get every team in before the season starts. And what a double up here with the Dallas Cowboys, the second team. So with the Steelers and the Cowboys, 2 legendary teams, both having I think the Cowboys only have 5 Super Bowls. So
yeah,
Steelers
true.
6. So
all right,
1 minute on the clock. I can start this one.
Okay, go.
So obviously this is their year, as all their fans proclaim every single year. But I actually don't think it's going to be their year because, it never is. Mike McCarthy sucks. He's going to get fired after the year and probably replaced by Sean Payton. So Fat Mike is going to be done. Their defense, I think, is due for a lot of regression this year. They had a phenomenal year last year, and their offense is going to be about the same, I think. Obviously they lost Amari Cooper, but Dak Prescott is still a good quarterback.
Yeah. Honestly, on social media, I haven't seen as many fans claiming that this is their year.
No.
Like, I think they're learning that maybe it's just not. And I agree with Luke. I love Mike McCarthy. I think he's one of the funniest head coaches in the NFL. I don't think he's the greatest head coach in the NFL. And I honestly think that they're going to replace him with the defensive coordinator, not Sean Payton. Blanking on his name.
Kellen Moore.
No, the defensive coordinator, the former Falcons head coach.
Okay. And Dan Quinn.
Yeah, Dan Quinn.
Yeah. Their uniforms suck as well.
The Cowboys?
I don't like them.
I think they're classic. I have no problem.
Boo. Their white ones are okay, but
I think they're just like the Packers. They're classic. It's not like the Packers have great uniforms.
No, they don't.
They're just classic. Why would you change them now?
Honestly, I like the uniforms that the Packers wore against the football team last year. Like the alternate or whatever. It was like a throwback uniform. I love those.
Mm-hmm. I love NFL throwbacks. And some other NFL news that we forgot to talk about. The Bengals got their white
their
white Bengal helmet. So
people have been asking for that. So
yeah.
Obviously we have the orange Bengals helmet right here if you're watching on YouTube.
So just picture that white.
Picture where the orange is.
White.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I'm not a Bengals guy, but that helmet is sick. And if they play in the snow this year, look out. They will be fast and they will be
invisible.
Camouflage.
Yeah. Literally like a Bengal tiger.
So yeah, that was pretty cool. And that's just gonna start. You're gonna start seeing some really cool alternate helmets in the NFL pop up now because it's with the new rule. You can have more than one helmet. So
I think the Titans got another helmet. A few like the Eagles and Buccaneers are
the Eagles have some awesome throwback helmets. If you've ever scrolled the helmets on Madden for the Eagles, they have some really sweet ones, and they're going to be bringing some of those out. So that's pretty cool.
Try to think of some other teams that have cool helmets. That like are new this year. I think the Seahawks maybe introduced a new one. The Bills will probably go back and forth between blue, white, and red.
Oh yeah, and the Patriots are going to be
throwbacks.
Yeah, the throwback red jerseys. I remember saw Tom Brady was like, as soon as I left, they bring these back. And I don't blame them for being mad because those are sweet.
But the Buccaneers are bringing back their sick uniforms too. So
yeah, that's
you
true.
Can't complain. But yeah, a lot of I don't know why they had the stupid rule where you can only wear one helmet. It made no sense. It was it was a communist rule. So I'm glad that Roger Goodell came to his senses.
Yeah, for sure.
Fix that. So
yeah. I remember that's why. Like I remember some of the Color Rush jerseys were just awful
because of the helmet.
But I was like, shit though, they're different jerseys, so I'm kind of for it, at the time. So yeah, but
I think maybe the Cardinals will go for like a black helmet, maybe too.
They need a complete makeover. Teams that need a complete jersey makeover: Cardinals, Panthers.
Panthers definitely.
I won't say some of the classic teams, but Panthers and Cardinals are the ones that just need it so bad.
What about the Browns? They have kind of bad colors to work with.
Yeah,
anyway.
I don't think there's anything that they can do to really make that better, per se.
Yeah, the Panthers and Cardinals, they just need to like modernize their uniforms, I guess. Texans would be another one too. They need to modernize their uniforms.
Yeah, but there's not a whole lot. I don't know what they could do to make it look. I'm not a design guy, but I'm not sure what they could do to make those look awesome.
I think you give a design guy 5 minutes, he can easily modernize the look of them.
Shit, what other?
See, Patriots just got one. Maybe the Saints.
I like the Saints white jersey.
I know. I'm not saying like change the colors or anything. I'm just saying modernize like the look, like the sleeve colors or something. And
but the Saints alternate white jerseys, those are
good.
so sweet with the gold. Oh man, those are awesome. Chris Olave
Broncos need to
Chris Olave. Oh yeah, big time. But Chris Olave is going to look so fast in those white uniforms. That's going to be wild.
Yeah. Chiefs could use one too, but at the same time, they're kind of classic.
Yeah.
I think once this Patrick Mahomes,
era
is over, they will definitely remodel.
Yeah.
But you can't remodel in the middle of an era. That just doesn't work, You have to wait till the era is over. So, but the Broncos, they have a perfect opportunity to remodel right now.
Yeah.
In the Russell Wilson area, Broncos country.
Maybe next year they might do that.
They should have done it this fall.
Yeah, but they can't now. It's too late.
Yeah, I know.
But so yeah. Well, that's our show pretty much.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Thanks to Jake once again for coming on.
First ever interview. So it's like breaking the color barrier in Jackie Robinson in 1947, So
Jake's got the torch.
Yeah. So he's like Jackie Robinson. We'll have maybe some people here be like a Larry Doby or a Roy Campanella that kind of just come in next. So
we'll see. We're not sure yet. We have some ideas of who Jake might theoretically pass the torch on to.
Yeah.
So stay alert for those. So yeah. But yeah, that's our show. Hopefully we're trying our best to get to a regular schedule, but it's not the easiest during this time of the year for some reason. So
we don't really have a set schedule like we did, a few months ago. So
yeah, that's true.
All right.
Well, yeah. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your week.
Indeed.